अनाउंसमेंट वगैरह कुछ नहीं है? ठीक है.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And we'll commence in about a minute's time.
Hi everyone, good evening, and thank you all for being here today as we gather to celebrate the life of Dr. Bhaskar Das, or BD, as so many of us knew him. BD was a loving husband, father, pup parent, friend, mentor, and boss man. You may have read on the invite for today's event, as well as the signage outside, that we're here to celebrate his blithe spirit, which he embodied better than anybody else. He was a very, very special person. He was a force of ideas, a force of words, many words, and unshakable optimism. His smile could light up a room, and I'll admit that conversations with him could confound the mind sometimes, but they would also fill your heart with the generosity that they were extended. His presence made you feel safe, and always reminded you that life needs to be lived fully. It must be lived fully. So today we're not here to mourn him in silence. We're here to honor his blithe, buoyant, everlasting spirit by partaking in music and song and poetry and stories and smiles, and with some luck, a laugh or two. Because that's exactly how he will have wanted it. The first speaker of the day is the founding president of the BDFA, the Bhaskar Das Fans Association. He met the big BD as a young reporter at the Economic Times and worked with him for over 15 years before they both jumped the Bennett ship. He feels lonely today because his friend bailed on him, and he's logged in for this celebration from the Kumbh Mela in Prayagraj. But here are a few lines by Rahul Joshi, who considered Bhaskar his best friend, philosopher, and guide. Rahul's wife Anubha and BD.
Given his swag and sartorial taste, Bhaskar always reminded me of the legendary actor Rajkumar. When Rajkumar was once asked, "सुना है आपको कैंसर हो गया है?" The actor shot back, "तो तुमने क्या सोचा था? जानी जुकाम से मर जाएगा?"
For a life less ordinary, Bhaskar's end was truly extraordinary. He fought hard, bloody hard, the deadly strain of cancer for over 2.5 years, never giving up till the bitter end. In these years, he worked jobs, had a few offers, consulted a few more, taught at business schools, wrote books, completed his 3rd PhD, enjoyed a few vacations with the family. Many of us would not have been able to do this in our healthy, younger, strapping 30s and 40s. But for the man with the never say die spirit, it was all in a day's work in between visits to the hospital and chemotherapy sessions.
I always saluted and learned from his professionalism, commitment, passion, and positive paranoia towards his work. The L&T chairman would be proud of him, save for the fact that he could stare endlessly at his lovely wife Shoma.
He lovingly addressed me and a few of his fellow acolytes as fucker. He used the word often, giving it more gravitas with his half Bong, half English accent. I hope I'm not giving away too much, but Bhaskar and I would, like boys often do, discuss girls. One day over a drink, looking at the girls milling around him at a party, I said, "Bhaskar, I'm sure you're having an affair." He was aghast. More so because it came from me. He replied, "Fucker, I can't do this. Shoma will chop my balls off."
He doted on Shoma. He pampered her. He was proud of her. He took as much interest in his own work as he did in Shoma's theatre, her music, even her histrionics.
After spending an evening with Shoma a few days back, my wife Anubha told me later that night in a tone that very often sends a clear message.
"Rahul, if you go today, I won't be able to say any of these wonderful things about you."
We all have a very tough act to follow in our professional and personal lives. That's the multifaceted Dr. Bhaskar does for you.
Bhaskar was really proud of his son Rick and doted much on the other woman in his life, his lovely daughter-in-law Isha. He always told me that Rick's very bright and talented and that he should let him fly, do his own thing. He wanted Rick to do an MBA, but never quite knew how to tell him. He was torn between being Bhaskar the father and Bhaskar the mentor.
We all celebrated Bhaskar's 72nd birthday a few days ago before he finally bailed on us. Shoma fed him some cake, which he liked very much and smiled. A smile that reached his eyes and stayed there.
Bhaskar's absence will be sorely missed today and forever. But his presence will always be felt because he put his work ahead of himself, his family's interests before his own, his young teammates' ambitions before the targets of the company.
These lines from Thomas Gray's famous elegy best capture the man and his mission. Full many a gem of purest ray serene, the dark unfathomed caves of ocean bare. Full many a flower is born to blush unseen and waste its sweetness on the desert air.
To my brother from another mother, au revoir, my friend, till we meet again on the other side.
Thank you so much, Rick and Anubha, for sharing Rahul's words with this gathering. I'm very glad that we started off with laughs and smiles. I would now like to invite Sujoy Ghosh, BD's compatriot and direct reportee at Times of India for 15 years. Sujoy met BD in 1996 when he first arrived in Bombay, and they have been friends ever since.
Huge one. Good evening, friends. ex-colleagues, and the Das family. When Shoma requested me to say a few words about Bhaskar at the prayer meeting today, I hesitated. Not because I didn't want to, it's just that I felt, what could I possibly say about him that hadn't already been written or spoken about? But then I realized BD wasn't someone you could capture in a single story or description. He was a man of many dimensions, full of quirks, contradictions, and achievements that made him unforgettable. So as I stand here, 9 days after BD left us, I can't help but smile. Because his life wasn't just a story of achievements. It was an epic of moments. Moments that made us laugh. Moments that left us in awe. And yes, moments that occasionally made us want to pull our hair out. For over 15 years, I had the privilege and the challenge of being his -1. Let me tell you, working with Bhaskar wasn't for the faint-hearted. He was relentless, ambitious, restless, and unapologetically larger than life. He had a certain je ne sais quoi which would disarm the toughest critics and simultaneously make his own team scramble to keep up with him. BD wasn't just a man, he was a phenomenon. His life unfolded in episodes, each one adding to the leitmotif, creating a whole far greater than the sum of its parts. So let me share his story, the way I believe he lived it, bold, episodic, and always with a touch of humor. Episode 1, the arrival of the whirlwind. When BD arrived in Mumbai from Ahmedabad, he didn't just step into the bustling ad world. He tore through it like a whirlwind. At the Times of India, where business often felt like a labyrinth of egos and negotiations, BD turned chaos into opportunity. He was the de facto king of innovation, the man who conceptualized and formalized ideas others hadn't yet dared to dream. Bhaskar's favorite mantra was, anyone who is in business and has a communication need is my customer. For him, life was full of serendipitous moments, waiting to be seized. And seize he did, with the vigor of someone who truly believed in the carpe diem. Episode 2, the iconoclast. Dr. Das wasn't just an innovator, he was an iconoclast. He questioned conventions, he broke barriers, and rewrote the rules of the game. His motto being, if it hasn't been done before, it's because we haven't done it. Bhaskar didn't just wear many hats, he balanced them effortlessly. He often reminded us that multitasking wasn't optional. It was de rigueur, if not de jure. In response, if you couldn't juggle priorities, you weren't just not living up to your potential. He'd often hand you an impossible task with his iconic line, usually in Bengali to me, "Dekho ki kora jay," which loosely translated into find a way to getting it done. And while you were still figuring out how to solve it, he was already onto his next quixotic idea. Episode 3, the Bhaskarisms. Working with Bhaskar wasn't just about hitting targets. It was about absorbing his worldviews. His Bhaskarisms, think complementary, future backwards, think integrated, platform agnostic, are some of the kinds that are still etched into our minds. BD often had another game he loved to play with many, sprinkling conversation with words or concepts, sine qua non, philomath, cognoscenti, etc., etc. He knew fully well that many of us would later be Googling them. He wasn't showing off. It was his way of keeping us sharp and pushing us to evolve. Episode 4, his human side. I remember at a sales conference in Cyprus when CG Varugis, CG to many of you and us, I had decided to go bungee jumping. Back then, bungee jumping wasn't exactly a common corporate adventure sport. For a man who thrived on risk-taking in business, BD was surprisingly fearful about physical adventure. He spent hours trying to talk us out of what he called sheer madness. What's the need to risk your life like this, he asked. His concern so genuine that we almost reconsidered. And then there was a time a senior manager's mother needed an urgent knee operation. Bhaskar, cutting through layers of red tape, managed a company loan in a jiffy, ensuring that the manager received the funds he needed. This was Dr. Das for you, in his truest form. A friend, a protector, a human being who always prioritized people, no matter the hierarchy or the circumstances. And the fact of that, so many of us who he has touched are here at his prayer meeting speaks volumes about his humanity. It's a testament to the lives he impacted and the hearts he warmed. Episode 5, the argumentative Bengali. BD, as we all knew, loved a good debate. And trust me, if you thought you had him cornered, he had a way of wriggling out of it. He'd often shift the argument's peg mid-discussion, leaving you scrambling to catch up. And when you finally complain about his shifting the goalpost, he'd adjust his pegs, look over them, flash his mischievous smile, and move on with a parting comment. Only the dead are consistent. It was frustrating, yes, but it was also classic BD. He always wanted the last word, and more often than not, had a charming way of making sure you didn't mind. Episode 6, the family man. BD wasn't just a visionary or leader, he was a family man through and through. His wife Shoma was the sine qua non of his life, the essential, irreplaceable force that held everything together. Even during his last 2.5 years, as he bravely fought the big sea, Shoma stood by him with unwavering strength, encouragement, and love. Her resilience, devotion, and constant support were not just admirable, they were extraordinary. Together, they built a life filled with purpose, humor, and unshakable partnership. BD often thrived on the storm of his professional commitments, but Shoma was his anchor, his calm amidst the chaos. His son Rick was his pride, and BD shared a unique bond with him, one that balanced a fatherly wisdom with a deep sense of camaraderie. And when Rick married Isha, BD welcomed her into their family with open arms, treating her not as a daughter-in-law, but as a daughter he cherished. Episode 7, the legacy. Bhaskar's legacy isn't just about the work he has done. It's about the lives he influenced. He wasn't one-dimensional. He was larger than the sum of his parts. His Das capital of wisdom, care, and humility continues to inspire across generations for those who have connected with him. And yes, in true BD fashion, I've consciously slipped in a few words here that I know will have some of you reaching for your phones to look them up. It's a small tribute to the man who loved seeing us squirm in the discomfort of not knowing. Not to mock, but to push us to learn and grow. Bhaskar, to all of us here, you are truly one of a kind. As I look back at the 28 years of my life that I've known you, I consider it a privilege and honor. Thank you for the knowledge, the laughter, the debates, the challenges, the trust, and the memories. And as you often told me, only the dead are consistent. In that, my friend, you are the exception. Because in life, and even now, you remain consistently unforgettable. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Shujoy Uncle, for that brilliant, beautiful, heartfelt speech. BD loved young people, and he was a child at heart, and he was always looking to learn new things and the new ways in which young consumers were thinking. Anjalika Gope and her sister, many conversations with BD about Gen Z and, as they say, the vibes. She studies in Podar School in the 8th standard, and as a tribute to Bhaskar Uncle, she has penned a poem.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anjalika, daughter of Ranjita and Arpito. My father closely worked with Bhaskar Uncle, and though I've met him only a couple of times, his eccentric energy was always infectious. Today, I'll be reciting a poem I wrote in his memory. A man as great as him will never be found again. So shall we toast a shot of gin, perhaps to remember him again? And though he told us not to weep, as he took one last great leap, our hearts did break, it does ache. A great salesman, that is true, but can anyone brew a greater you? And though he lives in the great blue sky, you can still feel him close by. And celebrate his life we will, he surely lived for the thrill. His heart was golden and pure, as vast as a green moor. He will be in every heart a true work of art. He will be remembered as the great Bhaskar Das. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anjalika. Professor Ujjwal K. Chaudhary, an educator and writer, shared a long-standing bond with Dr. Bhaskar Das, who served on the advisory boards of every single institute that UKC led, including Symbiosis, Pearl Academy, and Adamas University. Their connection began at Jadavpur University, and over the years, they worked closely on educational initiatives, with BD's vision leaving an indelible mark on India's academic landscape. I now invite Professor Chaudhary to say a few words.
I thought I'll speak just like that, but I may not be doing justice, so I thought I'll read out a small note that Exchange for Media published within few hours of the news, written by me. One life, many avatars, Bhaskar Das. Bhaskar Das' last LinkedIn profile notes him as a professor of practice, student, and strategic advisor. But the media fraternity and corporate houses of India knew him as a persistent marketeer, an ideator who rose from a management trainee in 1980 to president response in the Times of India group. And then in the later part of his career, he became group CEO with the G Group, executive president with the Republic Media, and if I'm not wrong, at a similar leadership position in Dainik Bhaskar too. To the marketing professionals, he is remembered as the longest running president of Ad Club of Mumbai and an avid organizer of premier advertising and marketing events of the city. Such a colorful and accomplished person is known differently by different people and seen differently by different people also, depending upon the relation one had with him. Everyone will have their piece of story, and perspective of interaction with him. To me, he was Bhaskar Da, a quintessential Bengali elder brother and mentor, and perhaps will always remain so in my mind. For me, he was the one who was on the advisory board of every media school in town that I had led, whether the Symbiosis Media School, Whistling School of Communication, ISBNM, Pearl Media School, Amity University, Mumbai, or Adamas University Media faculty. His one line of encouragement was always, I love education, and you are doing an admirable work. I shall be on every place you invite if it adds value. Not just being on the advisory board, and this is more important, he meticulously went through long notes of syllabi of communication courses, made copious notes, and actively participated in advisory body meetings. He had his unique position on issues, for example, I remember this debate, particularly in Symbiosis, on issues related to technology convergence versus perspective divergence, on how brands are alive and kicking, yet traditional branding is long dead, or on volatility coupled with stability of our times. There were many other issues, I'm just mentioning a few. He was respectful to minority views in every meeting, delightful with his quips and little nuggets of humor with the lady members in any meeting that I know of, and very punctual in his timings. I'm personally thankful that he found time to attend jury board meetings for selecting the best performing media schools in the country on different counts during edutainment awards jury meetings, or looking at the communication initiatives of corporate brands during PRSI Kolkata awards jury meeting. He was the president of that jury. He once said, "You learn the best when you judge the best out of many good and some not so good work. You learn what to do more and better, and more importantly, what never to do again." Quintessentially a print media man from the last century, he rewired himself for the television first and the digital later, and agreed that this march ahead had challenged many of his insights and beliefs, earlier insights and beliefs. And he was open to be proven wrong again and again to learn the next best thing in the evolving world of communication. Mentored originally by the legendary media marketing mastermind Pradeep Guha, Bhaskar himself gradually became the mentor of dozens of younger professionals. This quest for more, desire to learn the next best thing happening around, led him to take successfully his first doctoral research from Pune University on media management, which he finished in 2009. He shared that thesis with me. It was from a public university. It was more, a little traditional in approach and all that. But in 10 years, he was restless. I mean, we in academics hardly managed to finish one PhD, and he moves to the second. In 10 years, he was restless for more structured learning that led him to do his second PhD from JIS University of Kolkata, and this was on incorporating social listening into integrated marketing communication mix, which was an exploratory study in 2020. I asked him, in one of the discussions, he said, this whole demographics, psychographics, ethnographics jamboree is limited unless you really go, because at the same age group, in the same economic status, people can have different belief systems or practices. So social listening is a good way. He just said casually, and we had a nice discussion, and a few months later he said, I have already registered to do a PhD on social listening. So that was his type. And in 5 years again, he found himself wanting in deep dive knowledge again with the digital scenario unfolding big time. And he started his third PhD from the GLS University after, I think it was 21, third PhD, GLS University of Gujarat, on the theme, Information Consumption and Life Choices, a study of Gen Z in India. And these were not degrees for him. I asked this, why do you do so many PhDs? It don't increase your salary, it don't increase any of your goodwill and all that. Like, see, what we gather from the market is random learning, sometimes casual learning. But when we do a PhD, I'm deep diving, I'm getting a structured work done, I'm forced to do that in a timeline, so that makes me go. So my body may grow older, but my knowledge should remain young. This was one of the things he repeatedly said. He also he even said the youngsters, 40, 50 years younger than me, 40 years younger than me will mock at me if I remain in my 1990 knowledge. He also actively participated in the Mudra Institute of Communication Governing Council meetings and contributed as a professor of practice there too, who is the former MICA professor and acting dean Dr. Arvind Sinha fondly remembers. After his death, I was having a talk with Arvind Sinha. His one pet quest was to find the happiness quotient of the newer generation and their inspiration sources. How these findings can be integrated in communication messaging. These searches he was integrating into his third doctoral research thesis, which would have been submitted this year, only a few months from now. We can hence say that he remained a learner, a practitioner, a strategist till the last date. In fact, though with a cancer attack for quite some time, he was neither silent nor inactive and continued with his research, consultation, and voluntary support to various organizations, even remotely. I lost my senior from the Department of International Relations. He is 11 years elder to me in my same department, Jadavpur University. I lost a Dada who guided and advised me on many counts, especially with regards to communication education. I lost an inspiring professional who was in his third PhD in spite of being the president of at least 3 of India's top media organizations and mentor to many communication startups. One life, many avatars. Rest in peace. Bhaskar Da.
Thank you so much, Professor Chaudhary. To all the folks in the back who've just come in, there are a few seats in the front if you'd like to, sit down. No pressure. To conclude this series of remembrances, I invite Rick to share something from BD himself.
Thank you so much, Vaishtai. So funny story. I basically was sitting with Dad, and this was when we were at Breach Candy Hospital. This is in the month of December. And suddenly, this is after he's understood his cancers metastasize and everything. Firstly, I had to explain the entire biology of it, which was a huge exercise in itself. But after that, he suddenly tells me, he's like, can you take a dictation? I said, okay, sure. I start taking a dictation. He starts narrating this entire thing to me, which obviously found its way into the prayer meeting, the prayer invite itself, which was a beautiful poem. And I asked him, like, what am I writing down here right now, right? He said, this is what I want to be remembered by. I said, okay, great, fantastic. First man who's saying, please draft my prayer invite for me. I want to see what it looks like before I'm gone. I said, okay, sure. And after that, then he just suddenly tells me, he's like, there's this poetry by Gulzar. I said, okay, there's lots of poems by Gulzar. Which one are we talking about here? He said, there is this one in the movie Anand. I said, okay. I'd obviously watched the movie by Rishikesh Mukherjee a number of times, and I realized what he was referring to. My father was a man of incredible duality. In his life, he embodied both the depth and seriousness of his namesake Bhaskar from the movie, a guiding figure full of wisdom and strength, and the lightness and infectious joy of Anand, spreading laughter and positivity wherever he went. Even in his final days, he lived with grace, embracing life with the same courage and humor that defined him. Today, as I recite the iconic words from Anand as a reflection of my father's spirit, serious yet light-hearted, reflective yet hopeful, this poem by Gulzar captures the wisdom by which he lived and the optimism by which he left us. मौत तू एक कविता है, मुझसे एक कविता का वादा है, मिलेगी मुझको। डूबती नब्ज़ों में जब दर्द को नींद आने लगे, जर्द सा चेहरा लिए जब चांद उफ़क़ तक पहुँचे, दिन अब पानी में हो, रात किनारे के करीब, ना अंधेरा ना उजाला हो, ना भी रात ना दिन, जिस्म जब ख़त्म हो और रूह को जब सांस आए, मुझे कविता का वादा है, मिलेगी मुझको। बाऊमशाए, बाऊमशाए, जिंदगी और मौत ऊपर वाले के हाथ है जहाँ पना, उसे ना तो हम ना आप समझ सकते हैं, हम तो बस सब कठपुतलियाँ हैं जिनकी डोर ऊपर वालों की उंगलियों में बंधी है। कब कौन कैसे उठेगा ये तो कोई नहीं बता सकता है। मुझे जाना है, मुझे जाना है, मौत तू एक कविता है, मुझसे एक कविता का वादा है, मिलेगी मुझको। थैंक यू पापा।
No more noisy, loud words for me. Such is my master's will. Henceforth, I deal in whispers. The speech of my heart will be carried on in murmurings of a song. Men hasten to the king's market. All the buyers and sellers are there. But I have my untimely leave in the middle of the day, in the thick of work. Let then the flowers come out in my garden, though it is not their time, and let the midday bees strike up their lazy hum. Full many an hour have I spent in the strife of the good and the evil, but now it is the pleasure of my playmate of the empty days to draw my heart onto him. And I know not why is this sudden call to what useless inconsequence. গান দিয়ে দ্বার খোলা
ভালো মানুষ নই রে মোরা, ভালো মানুষ নই, ভালো মানুষ নই রে মোরা, ভালো মানুষ নই।
গুণের মধ্যে ওই আমাদের, গুণের মধ্যে ওই
ভালো মানুষ নই রে মোরা, ভালো মানুষ নই, ভালো মানুষ নই রে মোরা, ভালো মানুষ নই। দেশে দেশে নিন্দে রটে, পদে পদে বিপদ ঘটে, দেশে দেশে নিন্দে রটে, পদে পদে বিপদ ঘটে।
বুদ্ধির কথা কইলে মোরা,
বুদ্ধির কথা কইলে মোরা, উল্টো কথা কই।
গুণের মধ্যে ওই
ভালো মানুষ নই রে মোরা, ভালো মানুষ নই,
ভালো মানুষ নই রে মোরা,
ভালো
মানুষ নই। জন্মদের গ্রহ স্পর্শে সকল অনা সৃষ্টি, ছুটি নিলেন বৃহস্পতি, রইল শনির দৃষ্টি। জন্মদের গ্রহ স্পর্শে সকল অনা সৃষ্টি, ছুটি নিলেন বৃহস্পতি, রইল শনির দৃষ্টি।
যাত্রাতে নৌকো ভাষা, রাখিনে ভাই ফলের আশা। যাত্রাতে নৌকো ভাষা, রাখিনে ভাই ফলের আশা।
আমাদের আর নাই যে গতি,
আমাদের আর নাই যে গতি, এসে চলাবো।
গুণের মধ্যে ওই
ভালো মানুষ নই রে মোরা, ভালো মানুষ নই, ভালো মানুষ নই রে মোরা, ভালো মানুষ নই, ভালো মানুষ নই রে মোরা, ভালো মানুষ নই।
দাঁড়িয়ে আছো তুমি
আজকে তুমি তেমনি করে সামনে আমার রাখো ধরে আজকে তুমি তেমনি করে সামনে তোমার রাখো ধরে আমার প্রাণে খেলার সে ঢেউ তোলাও 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 আমার হৃদয় তোমার আপন হাতের দোলে দোলাও 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 আমার হৃদয়
ভেঙে মোর ঘরের চাবি নিয়ে যাবি কে আমারে ভেঙে মোর ঘরের চাবি নিয়ে যাবি কে আমারে ও বন্ধু আমার না পেয়ে তোমার দেখা একা একা দিন যে আমার কাটে না রে ভেঙে মোর ঘরের চাবি নিয়ে যাবি কে আমারে
ও বন্ধু আমার না পেয়ে তোমার দেখা একা একা দিন যে আমার কাটে না রে ভেঙে মোর ঘরের চাবি নিয়ে যাবি কে আমারে ভেঙে মোর ঘরের চাবি নিয়ে যাবি কে আমারে
বুঝি গো রাত পোহালো বুঝি ওই রবির আলো বুঝি গো রাত পোহালো বুঝি ওই রবির আলো আভাসে দেখা দিল গগন পারে আভাসে দেখা দিল গগন পারে
সম্মুখে ওই হেরি পথ তোমার কি রাত পৌঁছবে না মোর দুয়ারে ভেঙে মোর ঘরের চাবি নিয়ে যাবে কে আমারে ভেঙে মোর ঘরের চাবি নিয়ে যাবে কে আমারে
আকাশে যত তারা চেরায় নিমেষ হারায় আকাশে যত তারা
কে আমারে
জীবন মরণের সীমানা ছাড়ায় বন্ধু হে আমার রয়েছ দাঁড়ায় জীবন মরণের সীমানা ছাড়ায় বন্ধু হে আমার রয়েছ দাঁড়ায় জীবন মরণের সীমানা ছাড়ায় এ মোর হৃদয়ে বিজন আকাশে তোমার মহাশয় আলোতে ঢাকাশে এ মোর হৃদয়ে বিজন আকাশে তোমার মহাশয় আলোতে ঢাকাশে গভীর কি আশায় নিবিড় পুলকে তাহার পানে চাই দুবাহু মারায় জীবন মরণের সীমানা ছাড়ায় নীরব নিশিতব চরণ নিছায়ে আধার কেশভার দিয়েছে বিছায়ে নীরব নিশিতব চরণ নিছায়ে আধার কেশভার দিয়েছে বিছায়ে আজি কোন গান নিখিল প্লাবিয়া তোমার বিনা হতে আসিল না বিয়া আজি কোন গান নিখিল প্লাবিয়া তোমার বিনা হতে আসিল না বিয়া ভুবন মিলে যায় সুরের রণনে গানের বেদনায় যাই যে হারায় জীবন মরণের সীমানা ছাড়ায় বন্ধু হে আমার রয়েছ দাঁড়ায় জীবন মরণের সীমানা ছাড়ায় और है गाना और जाए মাঝে মাঝে তব দেখা পাই, চিরদিন কেন পাই না। মাঝে মাঝে তব দেখা পাই,
आप लोग इतना अच्छा गा रहे हैं बहुत सुंदर गा रहे हैं दादा बहुत बढ़िया फर्स्ट क्लास कमाल है बहुत बढ़िया Yes, Shanti.